The crash on frozen ground. The wind screamed across the ice plains of Caress, carrying crystals that cut like tiny blades. Aya pulled her thermal cloak tighter around her shoulders as she made her way back to the sanctuary. Her boots crunching through the frozen wasteland. The pale blue sun was setting early again, casting long shadows across the abandoned mining structures that dotted the landscape. She had chosen this moon specifically because no one came here anymore. Not after the war had stripped it of resources and left it a frozen graveyard. It was perfect for hiding. Perfect for keeping the children safe from the galaxy that had forgotten them. "Miss Aya," a small voice called from the entrance. It was Pip, a young Corthian boy with translucent skin and oversized eyes that reflected the ice. "Mira won't eat again," Aya's heart sank. The little girl had been with them for 3 months now, and the trauma of losing her family still kept her silent and withdrawn. "I will talk to her, Pip. Go help Dr. Chen with the evening meal preparations." The sanctuary was built into an old mining complex, its tunnels converted into living spaces warmed by geothermal vents. It wasn't much, but it was home to 17 children of various species, all orphaned by the war, all carrying scars that went deeper than flesh. Dr. Chen, an elderly Tarsian with forearms and wisdom in his compound eyes, looked up from his cooking. "Another ship passed overhead this afternoon, high altitude, but still too close for comfort, I know," Aya said softly, her purple skin seeming to glow slightly in the dim light, a natural bioluminescence that intensified with her emotions. "We may need to move deeper into the tunnels." Before Dr. Chen could respond, a sound split the twilight air, a screaming roar that made the ice beneath their feet vibrate. Aya rushed to the entrance and saw it. A trail of fire across the darkening sky as something plummeted toward the surface. "Get the children into the deep shelter," she commanded, her voice carrying an authority that belied her usual gentle nature. "Now." The impact shook the ground several kilometers away, sending up a plume of snow and debris. Aya's mind raced. It could be debris from a destroyed ship, or it could be something worse if it was a beacon. If it drew attention to this area, everything she had built would be destroyed. She had to investigate, had to know what they were facing. "I am going to check it," she told Dr. Chen. "That is unwise, child," the old Tarsian said, concern etched in every line of his weathered face. "Let me send the drone. The drone's power cells are nearly depleted and we need them for the children. I will be careful." She grabbed her emergency pack and the plasma cutter they used for mining ice. It was not much of a weapon, but it was better than nothing. The trek to the crash site took nearly an hour through the bitter cold. Aya's breath formed clouds in the freezing air as she climbed over ridges of ice. The crashed vessel was smaller than she expected, an escape pod by the look of it, human design. Her blood ran cold. Humans. Every instinct screamed at her to turn back, to run. Humans had brought nothing but death to her people. She could still remember the burning skies of Valara, the screams as the bombardment turned her beautiful lavender forest into ash. She remembered holding her sister's hand as the life faded from her eyes. But she had to know, had to be sure they weren't followed. The pod's hatch was partially open. Leaking a thin stream of smoke, Aya approached cautiously. The plasma cutter held ready. Inside, she could see a figure slumped against the controls. Definitely human by the build, and something small huddled in the corner. "Please," a weak voice called out. Male, strained with pain. "Please help her, not me. Just help her." Aya's finger hovered over the cutter's activation stud. This could be a trap. Humans were cunning, brutal, but that voice, there was something in it. Desperation, yes, but not for himself. She climbed into the pod. The human was badly injured. Blood seeping through his torn flight suit, revealing burns and deep lacerations. His face was pale beneath the grime, his dark hair matted with blood, but his eyes, warm hazel eyes that should have been clouded with pain, were fixed on the small figure in the corner. It was a child, a Valerian child, no more than 5 cycles old, with pale purple skin like Aya's own people. "You," Aya breathed, her voice shaking with emotion. "You have one of my people, the human." Cooper, though she did not know his name yet, tried to focus on her. Recognition flickered across his face as he saw her purple skin. Her glowing teal markings saved her, he managed. His voice barely a whisper. "From Rena, from the slavers. Get her out, please, before." His eyes rolled back and he slumped unconscious. Aya stood frozen, her mind warring with itself. This human had one of her people, a child, and he had been protecting her. But humans were monsters, everyone knew that. They destroyed without mercy, killed without remorse, the child whimpered, and Aya's healer instincts overrode everything else. She moved to the little girl. Gathering her gently in her arms, the child was malnourished. Dehydrated but alive. Shh, little star, Aya murmured in the old Valerian tongue. You are safe now? I promise. She looked back at the unconscious human, at the blood pooling beneath him, at the scars that covered his visible skin. Scars that spoke of countless battles, and at the way, even unconscious, his hand remained outstretched toward where the child had been. Aya closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and made a choice that would change everything. Dr. Chen, she spoke into her communicator. Prepare the medical bay. I'm bringing in 2 patients, one of them is human. The shocked silence on the other end spoke volumes. I know, she said quietly, looking at the unlikely pair before her. I know what I am doing. But as she began the work of stabilizing the human enough to transport him, Aya wondered if that was true, wondered if she was making the biggest mistake of her life, or if perhaps, just perhaps, everything she thought she knew about humans was about to be challenged. The ice wind howled outside the damaged pod, and somewhere in the distance the pale sun finally set completely, leaving only the stars and the uncertain path ahead. The healing and the truth. The medical bay was barely more than a converted storage room, but Dr. Chen had equipped it well enough for emergencies. Aya laid the Valerian child on the smaller bed, checking her vital signs with practiced efficiency. The little girl's eyes fluttered open wide with fear. What is your name? Little star, Aya asked gently in their native language. Mira, the child whispered, her voice hoarse from disuse. Mira, that is beautiful. I am Aya, and you are safe here, I promise. She stroked the child's silver hair, so like her own. Sleep now when you wake. There will be warm food. Dr. Chen worked on the human, his 4 hands moving with surgical precision as he cleaned wounds and sealed the worst of the burns. This one has been through war, he observed, his voice carefully neutral. Many times by the look of these scars, some are years old. Aya approached reluctantly. Her people's empathic abilities had always been both gift and curse, allowing her to sense emotions, to feel the echoes of pain and joy in others. Right now, even unconscious, the human radiated something she had not expected. Not malice or cruelty, but a deep aching guilt mixed with fierce determination. His ribs are fractured. Burns cover 30% of his body, and he has significant internal bleeding. Dr. Chen continued. He should be dead, but humans, they are remarkably resilient. Can you save him? Aya asked, surprising herself with how much she wanted the answer to be yes. I believe so, but he will need time to heal. Weeks, probably. The old Tarsian fixed her with a knowing look. Are you certain about this child? The others will be frightened. Some have never seen a human except in their nightmares. Aya looked at Mira, already sleeping peacefully for the first time since arriving at the crash site. He protected her, Dr. Chen. A human protected one of my people. I need to understand why over the next 3 days. I attended to both patients. Mira recovered quickly with proper food and care, though she rarely spoke and never strayed far from Aya's side. The child kept glancing at the bed where the human lay, something unreadable in her young eyes. Cooper, as she learned his name from his identification tags, drifted in and out of consciousness. Sometimes he would murmur words, names of people, coordinates, apologies that seemed to come from somewhere deep and haunted. On the 4th morning, his eyes opened fully, clear and aware. The girl were his first words. His voice rough. Mira is safe, Aya said, keeping her distance. She is eating well and starting to smile. Relief flooded his features. So genuine it made Aya's chest tighten. Thank God, he breathed, then seemed to register where he was. Who was speaking? His eyes widened. You're Valerian. Yes, Aya said coldly. And you are human. The species that destroyed my world. Cooper's face fell, and that guilt she had sensed intensified. I know, I was there, part of the 3rd wave. He looked away, shame coloring every word. I am so sorry for what we did, for what I did. There is no excuse, no forgiveness possible for that. Aya had expected denials, justifications, excuses. Not this raw acknowledgement, not this pain that mirrored her own. Then why, she demanded, why save a Valerian child? Why risk your life? Because I have to? Cooper said simply. Because I cannot bring back the lives we took. But maybe I can save some of the ones left. I have been running refugee operations for 2 years now, getting kids out of slave markets, out of war zones, trying to trying to pay back a debt that can never be repaid. Noble, Aya said, her voice dripping with sarcasm to hide the confusion his words created. Or convenient cover story. Think what you want. Cooper tried to sit up, winced and fell back. But let me heal enough to leave. I will not bring danger to wherever this is. Commander Rena was tracking my ship. If she figures out where I crashed, Rena, Dr. Chen spoke up from the doorway. Concern evident, the mercenary commander. She is brutal beyond measure. She runs the largest slave operation in the outer sectors. Cooper confirmed. And she really wants me dead. I have cost her millions in lost merchandise. The way he said merchandise dripped with disgust. Aya studied him. Her empathic senses told her he was being truthful. But years of trauma and loss made trust feel impossible. You will stay until Dr. Chen clears you medically. Then you leave and never speak of this place, agreed. Cooper said quietly. The days that followed established an uneasy routine. Aya would bring meals, check his bandages, administer medicine. All while maintaining careful distance. Cooper never pushed, never demanded. He answered her questions about the war with painful honesty, never flinching from his own guilt. We were told Valara was a military stronghold, he explained one evening as she changed his dressings. That your people were planning strikes against human colonies. I believed it because I wanted to, because it made what we did easier to justify. His voice broke. Then I saw the cities, the schools, the hospitals. There were no military installations, just people living their lives. Aya's hands trembled. My sister was in the capital. She was a teacher. She loved children. Tears slipped down her purple cheeks, glowing faintly. She never hurt anyone. I am sorry, Cooper whispered, and she could feel the genuineness of it radiating from him. I am so sorry, Aya. It was the first time he had used her name, and something in the way he said it with such gentle respect made her walls crack just slightly. Mira had been watching from the doorway. The child approached slowly, climbed onto Cooper's bed despite Aya's protest, and curled against his side. Cooper froze. Clearly afraid to move, to breathe, he sang to me, Mira said quietly, her first full sentence since arriving. On the ship, when I was scared, he sang Valerian lullabies. The ones my mama used to sing. Aya stared. How do you know our songs? Cooper looked embarrassed. After Valara, I learned your language, your culture, trying to understand what we destroyed. There were recordings, archives that survived. I learned the lullabies because I thought if I ever found survivors, especially children, maybe it would help them feel less alone. The walls around Aya's heart cracked further. This human, this destroyer of worlds, had learned her people's most precious songs just to comfort traumatized children. Teach me, Mira said, looking at Aya. Teach me the other songs, the ones Mama sang. And so Aya found herself sitting beside Cooper's bed, singing the old songs of Valara, while Mira listened with wonder and Cooper's eyes glistened with unshed tears. Dr. Chen watched from the doorway, a knowing smile on his aged face. When Mira finally fell asleep between them, Cooper spoke softly. You have built something beautiful here, a sanctuary, those kids. They are lucky to have you. They have nowhere else to go, Aya said. The galaxy has forgotten them. I will not. You remind me why I keep fighting, Cooper said, meeting her eyes. Why I keep believing that maybe we can be better than what we were. In that moment, with a sleeping child between them and the weight of shared grief in the air, Aya felt something shift, not forgiveness, not yet, but perhaps the first fragile seed of understanding. Rest now, she said quietly. You are still healing. As she left the medical bay, Aya realized with surprise that for the first time since the war, she had spent hours with a human without feeling fear. Instead, she felt something far more dangerous. She felt curiosity, and beneath that, buried deep but undeniably present, she felt the first stirrings of hope. Outside the sanctuary, the ice winds howled, but inside, something warmer was beginning to grow, something neither of them had expected to find in the frozen wasteland of their shared pain. Dr. Chen was waiting in the corridor. He is not what you expected, the old Tarsian observed. No, Aya admitted. He is not, and that frightens you, terrifies me, she whispered, but she was smiling despite herself. Sanctuary under siege. Cooper was walking within 2 weeks, though Dr. Chen insisted he take it slowly. Aya watched from across the common room as he sat with the children, teaching them how to repair a broken water filtration unit. His large hands moved with surprising gentleness as he guided small fingers through the process. And this component here, he explained to Pip and two other children, needs to connect at exactly 90 degrees, otherwise the pressure builds up and boom. The children giggled at his exaggerated explosion gesture. Even the quieter ones had warmed to him, drawn by his patience and the genuine interest he showed in their stories, their fears, their dreams. He is good with them. Sarah, one of the older refugees, said quietly. She was 16, a Corthian who had appointed herself protector of the younger ones. I did not want to trust him, Aya, I really did not. But he makes it difficult, Aya finished, understanding completely. She had been watching Cooper for weeks now, studying him the way she might study a dangerous creature, looking for signs of deception, of hidden malice. Instead, she found a man haunted by his past, driven by an almost desperate need to make amends. He never asked for anything, never demanded. He simply helped wherever he could yesterday. He had spent 4 hours fixing the geothermal regulator that had been malfunctioning for months. The sanctuary was finally warm again this morning. He had crafted toys from scrap metal for the youngest children, tiny ships that actually glided through the air on repulsor fields he had somehow built from broken parts. Miss Aya, Mira called, running over with one of the toy ships. Look what Cooper made me, it flies. The child had bloomed in the past weeks, speaking freely now, laughing, playing with the others. She still slept in Aya's quarters, still had nightmares, but she was healing, and Cooper's presence seemed to comfort her in ways Aya had not expected. It is beautiful, little star, Aya said, kneeling to admire the craftsmanship. The tiny ship was elegant, shaped like a bird in flight. He said it is called a phoenix, Mira explained. A bird from earth that rises from fire, that cannot die. Aya looked up, caught Cooper's eyes across the room. He smiled and she felt her pulse quicken. It was becoming harder to maintain distance, harder to remember why she had been so afraid. His eyes held warmth, intelligence, and something else, something that made her purple skin glow brighter whenever he was near. That evening, after the children were settled, Aya found Cooper on the observation platform, a small outcropping of ice where one could see the stars without the shelter's walls. He stood with his arms crossed against the cold, staring up at the vast expanse. You should not be out here, Aya said, approaching with a thermal blanket. Dr. Chen said you need rest. Could not sleep, Cooper admitted. Too used to looking over my shoulder, watching for threats. Aya draped the blanket over his shoulders, her fingers brushing his. The contact sent a strange warmth through her. Is that why you stay awake? Fear partly, he said, then gestured to the stars. But also this on Earth, we cannot see this many stars. Too much light pollution in most places. Out here you can see everything. Makes you realize how small we are. How pointless our wars must seem to the universe. Aya stood beside him, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. My people believed the stars were the souls of those who came before, watching over us, guiding us. Beautiful belief. Cooper said softly, Do you still believe it? I want to, Aya admitted. I want to think my sister is up there somewhere, that she knows I am trying to save the children we could not save then. Cooper turned to face her. She would be proud of you, Aya, what you have built here. It is extraordinary. I did not build it alone, Dr. Chen, Sarah, the others. They all contributed. She paused, then added quietly, and you have helped more in 3 weeks than I expected. I want to do more, Cooper said, intensity in his voice. I want to help you protect this place. These children deserve safety, deserve futures. You are still healing, Aya protested, though part of her thrilled at the thought of him staying. I am strong enough. He stepped closer. Aya, let me stay. At least until you have better defenses. I know combat systems, security protocols. I can help fortify this sanctuary. She looked up at him. At the earnestness in his hazel eyes. Why does this matter so much to you? Because Cooper hesitated, then spoke with raw honesty. Because for the first time since the war, I feel like I am doing something that matters because those kids look at me without fear. And that is a gift I never thought I would receive, and because you make me believe I can be more than what I was. Aya's breath caught. The way he looked at her with such vulnerability, such hope, it made her walls crumble further. Cooper, I know, he said quickly. I know I am human. I know what my people did to yours. I am not asking for forgiveness. I am just asking for a chance to help. She should say no, should maintain distance, should protect herself from the inevitable pain. But standing there under the stars with this man who had somehow slipped past every defense she had built, Aya found herself saying, Yes, stay, help us. The smile that lit his face was worth every risk. Over the following days, Cooper transformed the sanctuary's defenses. He rigged proximity sensors around the perimeter, installed early warning systems, even created false heat signatures in abandoned tunnels to confuse potential scanners. He worked tirelessly, often late into the night. Aya found herself working beside him, learning from him. Their hands would brush as they passed tools. Their eyes would meet over circuit boards, and each time, the attraction grew stronger. One night, as they calibrated the new shield generator, Aya's hand slipped, a circuit sparked, and Cooper caught her, pulling her away from the electrical discharge. They stood frozen, his arms around her, her back pressed against his chest. Both breathing hard. Are you all right? Cooper asked. His voice rough. Yes, Aya whispered. But she did not pull away. Could not pull away. Slowly, he turned her to face him. His hands came up to cup her face, thumbs gently brushing her purple cheeks. Tell me to stop, he said quietly. Tell me this is not what you want. But Aya could not say that, because it would be a lie. Instead, she rose on her toes and kissed him, soft and tentative at first, then deeper as he responded with gentle passion. His lips were warm, his touch careful, as if she were something precious. When they finally pulled apart, both were trembling. I should not want this, Aya breathed. Should not want you. I know. Cooper rested his forehead against hers. I am the last person who deserves you. But Aya, I care for you more than I should. More than is wise, show me, she whispered, and he did. With another kiss that spoke of longing and tenderness and the desperate hope that maybe, somehow, they could heal each other. They spent the night together in the observatory, talking until dawn about everything. Childhoods, dreams, fears, losses. Cooper told her about growing up on Earth, about joining the military young and idealistic, about the moment he realized the war was wrong. Aya shared memories of Valara, of her sister, of the guilt she carried for surviving when so many did not. She told him about finding the sanctuary, about every child she had saved and everyone she had lost. As the pale sun rose, Cooper held her close. Thank you, he said, for giving me a chance, for seeing past what I was. Thank you, Aya replied, for showing me that not all humans are monsters, that maybe there is hope. But even as they sat wrapped in each other's warmth, neither saw the small ship that had entered Caress's orbit hours before. Neither detected the scan that had just located their thermal signature. Commander Rena smiled as she studied the readings. Found you, she purred. Ready the assault team? We move at nightfall. In the sanctuary, Cooper suddenly tensed. Something is wrong. What is it? Aya asked. I do not know, he said, looking toward the sky with soldier's instincts, but something feels off. He was right to worry. The peace they had found was about to be shattered, and the real test of trust was approaching fast. The betrayal and the choice. The alarm screamed through the sanctuary just after sunset. Cooper was on his feet instantly. Get the children to the deep shelter. Now Aya's heart pounded as she helped Dr. Chen usher the terrified children into the reinforced tunnels. Mira clung to her leg, crying, What is happening? We have company, Cooper said grimly, checking the security feeds. 3 assault ships, military grade. They will be here in 10 minutes. Sarah appeared, fear in her eyes but voice steady. I will take the children deeper. Go. Aya grabbed Cooper's arm. Who is it, Rena? He said quietly, and the name sent ice through her veins. She found me. The first explosions rocked the sanctuary. Aya stumbled. Cooper caught her. Listen to me, he said urgently, his hands on her shoulders. There is a way to end this. I surrender, she takes me, and you all stay safe. No, Aya said fiercely. We fight together. Aya, she has 50 soldiers. We have 1 plasma cutter and hope. This is not a fight we can win. His eyes were desperate, pleading. Let me do this. Let me protect you. You think she will just take you and leave? Dr. Chen spoke up, his voice hard. Mercenaries like Rena do not leave witnesses, especially not a sanctuary full of valuable merchandise. Cooper's face went pale. He knew the old Tarsian was right. Then we run, Aya decided. The northern tunnels lead to the old mining shafts. We can get everyone out. They had minutes. Cooper laid covering fire with the single plasma rifle they had, while Aya and the others moved the children. The mercenaries breached the outer walls just as the last child entered the tunnels. Commander Rena herself stepped through the smoke. tall and cruel with cybernetic enhancements that glinted in the firelight. "Cooper," she called, "you have cost me a fortune. Time to pay your debts, let them go." "Rena," Cooper shouted back, "your quarrel is with me." "Oh, I will take you," Rena smiled. "But those children, that purple beauty you have been hiding with, they are coming too. Do you know what Valerian empaths sell for on the black market?" Aya felt Cooper's rage through their connection, saw him prepare to charge, to sacrifice himself. "No," she whispered, then louder. "No, I will not lose you." She stepped forward, her empathic abilities flaring to life in a way she had not allowed since before the war. Forbidden powers that her people had sworn never to use. She reached out with her mind, found the emotions of Rena's soldiers, fear, greed, anger, and twisted them. The mercenaries stumbled, clutching their heads as their own emotions overwhelmed them. Rena snarled. "Kill them all." Cooper moved. Grabbing Aya and firing at the supports, the tunnel entrance collapsed. "Buying them seconds, run," he commanded. They ran through the darkness. The children ahead with Dr. Chen and Sarah leading. Behind them, they could hear the mercenaries digging through. "There!" Cooper pointed to a service shaft. "It leads to the surface, to my crashed pod. If the beacon still works, we can call for help." "From who?" Aya gasped. "Friends," Cooper said. "Other runners? People I have worked with, they will come." But Rena was faster than they expected. She appeared ahead of them, blocking the path with 10 soldiers. "End of the line." Cooper pushed Aya behind him. "You want me? Here I am." "Let them pass." "I want everything," Rena said coldly. Aya felt Cooper's resolve, felt him preparing to fight a battle he could not win. And she made her choice. She stepped forward, her hands glowing with empathic energy. "You want us? Come and take us." Trust reborn. The power that erupted from Aya was unlike anything she had ever unleashed. Years of suppressed trauma, fear, and rage channeled through her empathic abilities. Rena's soldiers dropped, overwhelmed by the psychic assault, but it was draining her. Cooper saw her knees buckle. "Aya, stop. You will kill yourself." "Get the children out," she gasped. "Please, Cooper, not without you." He fired at Rena, forcing her to take cover, then scooped Aya into his arms and ran. Dr. Chen had gotten the children to the surface. Cooper's pod was ahead, battered but intact. "The beacon," Cooper shouted. "Activate it." Sarah was already working on it. "It is damaged, fix it." Cooper set Aya down gently. She was barely conscious. "Stay with me." "Please, tired," she whispered, but managed a weak smile. "Did not know I could do that." "You were magnificent," he said fiercely, kissing her forehead. "And you are not dying on me, not now. Not ever." The beacon sparked to life, Sarah whooped. "Signal sent." But Rena emerged from the tunnels with reinforcements. "Nowhere left to run, Cooper." He stood, placing himself between the mercenaries and everyone he had come to love. "Then we end this here." The standoff lasted seconds that felt like hours. Then the sky lit up. 3 ships dropped from orbit, fast and aggressive. Cooper's reinforcements had arrived. The lead ship, piloted by a woman named Kai, opened fire on Rena's forces. "Cooper, you magnificent idiot!" "You are buying drinks for a year." The battle was brief. Rena's mercenaries scattered under the assault. The commander herself retreated. Swearing vengeance, but she was gone, Kai landed, jumping out with a grin. "You called, we came. Who are your friends?" "My family," Cooper said simply, looking at the children, at Dr. Chen, at Aya, who was struggling to stand. They evacuated quickly. Caress was compromised. But Kai knew of a place, a hidden colony in the Andra system where refugees were welcome, where no one asked questions. On the journey, Aya recovered slowly. Cooper never left her side. "You saved us," he said quietly. "Saved me? You saved me first," she replied, taking his hand. "Showed me that trust is possible, that maybe the galaxy is not as broken as I thought." 3 months later, the new sanctuary was thriving. Built into asteroid gardens with defenses that could withstand armies, it housed not just their original children but dozens more. Word had spread of the place where species did not matter, where the only requirement was need. Cooper and Aya stood on the observation deck, watching the children play in the zero-gravity gardens. Mira was laughing, chasing Pip through floating flowers. "Happy?" Cooper asked, his arm around her waist. "Yes," Aya said, leaning into him. "Terrified, exhausted, but happy. Good terrified or bad terrified? She turned, her purple skin glowing softly. The kind that comes with hope. With believing in futures, he kissed her then. Deep and sweet, and around them the gardens bloomed. Dr. Chen watched from below, smiling. They have earned this, he said to Sarah. They have earned everything, Sarah agreed. In a galaxy torn by war and fear, they had found something precious. They had found trust, found family, found love in the most unlikely of places. And as the stars wheeled overhead, Cooper and Aya held each other close. Two souls who had been broken by the same war, now healing together, building something beautiful from the ashes. I love you, Cooper whispered. I know, Aya smiled. I can feel it, and I love you too, my unexpected human. You're human, he corrected gently. Always yours. And in the gardens of their new home, with children laughing and hope blooming like the flowers around them, they began the next chapter of their story. Together, the end.